Athena, an interactive musical mystery, proudly presents the adventures of Sherlock Holmes and Dr. Watson in solving a musical mystery. Several weeks before Holmes and Watson began their investigation, a letter along with a copy of a poster arrived at 221B Baker Street. It was written by a concerned mother. The letter explained that her son had spent years telling a remarkable story. According to her son, in 1981, he sent a letter to Yoko Ono, along with copies of his poster, Athena. In that letter, he asked Ono to forward copies of the poster to Paul McCartney, Pink Floyd, and The Who. He even asked Ono to arrange for any songs inspired by the poster to be released in a manner similar to the Beatles' famous Paul is Dead mystery from 1969, becoming part of a larger musical mystery for the public to solve. The mother explained that the story had become a source of conflict within the family. Some family members believed her son was mentally ill. Others dismissed the story without examining the evidence. Her son was being pushed away by relatives, friends, and members of the public because of the story he was telling. Relationships inside and outside the family were being damaged. Yet despite the accusations, no one seemed willing to investigate whether the story itself might be true. The letter concluded,
Mr. Holmes, I am at the end of my rope. This story is tearing my family apart. I find myself caught between my son and other members of the family who insist that his story cannot be true. They say it didn't happen, that he cannot prove it happened, and he is mentally ill. Yet none of them seem willing to examine the things he has spent years asking them to examine. My son has shown me things that he believes connect songs, albums, and events in his life to the story he tells. Some of those things involve my late parents. He has pointed out references that he believes connect their names and their last home address in Hull, England, to what is written on album covers, liner sheets, and song lyrics. His explanations made sense to me at the time, but I do not know whether his conclusions are correct. And when I tell the rest of the family what he has told me, they always seem to find reasons to dismiss what I was beginning to believe. I was not present for the events my son describes, nor was I present for any conversations he claims to have had with artists who sat with him at his table during a celebrity banquet in the New York City area before those albums were recorded. That is why I cannot say with certainty whether his conclusions are correct. What I do know is that he has spent years trying to explain these things to others, and I cannot dismiss him as easily as everyone else seems able to do. When he explains these things, I do not see a man inventing stories for attention. I see a man trying to explain something that he sincerely believes happened. Whether he is right or wrong, I do not know. What troubles me is that nearly everyone appears to have reached a conclusion without even bothering to investigate the matter. My son confides in me about these things because I am one of the very few people willing to listen to him. I am asking for your help. Please investigate the matter and determine whether there is any truth to what my son is saying. Yours sincerely, a concerned mother.
Several days later, a reply arrived.
Madam, whether your son's story proves true, false, or somewhere in between is a matter that can only be determined through investigation. What concerns me more is that conclusions appear to have been reached before any investigation has taken place. The right to tell a story is not dependent upon whether others believe it. A person may tell a story, advance a theory, write a novel, create a mystery, or present an argument without that act alone being evidence of mental illness. If your son offers evidence for examination, then the proper response is to examine the evidence. To refuse investigation while simultaneously declaring him mentally unsound strikes me as poor reasoning. Dr. Watson and I shall review the materials and determine what facts, if any, may be established. Yours faithfully, Sherlock Holmes.